Hi everyone, and welcome back to automation. So where we left off last time, the MATN had just released, and the Aussie was undergoing its final facelift. I think we're going to kick off today by doing a new facelift of the MATN, just to keep it ticking over, and then we'll be designing the Aussie's replacement. So let's jump right in and go and edit the MATN. So this is going to be its 96 facelift. Okay, and let's see what we can do to tweak the engine in order to get a little more out of it, if we at all can. So there's not a huge amount we can do with this engine. I am putting in VVT. They just like it a little bit more, just generally broadens the power curve and the torque curve a little bit. And I then upped the ignition timing a little bit, and that just gives us a few more horsepower. It's not really much. Mostly this is going to be, again, a case of getting more out of the engineering than the regular design. And not a huge change in the premium budget trim. The main thing that I have added is we've gone to electronic stability traction aids and changed up to the standard 90s safety. It's not had much of a difference on price, but it has bumped up the competitiveness quite a bit. So we're still hitting the markets we want to, and this is still actually a reasonable family car. You can see it's got quite a range of different things that it can sell into. It's actually pretty damn excellent as a commuter premium. And I think what we've ended up with here is a really nice luxury car. So it's really attractive to the premium market and quite affordable. 80% of the premium market. Those who can't can just go down to the other version. The luxury market absolutely adore it as well, and they can pretty much all afford it. And the luxury premium market, they're really liking it as well. So I think this is a really good trim for us. Hopefully we'll be selling really quite well. See, it's hammering all of those, and even though it's not convertible, it is coming out as a reasonable convertible premium, and is also doubling up as a family premium there. It's certainly not bad. I'll just try adjusting this to give us another 5-year turnaround. There you go, exactly 60 months. Managed to bring down the pressure and increase the processing and tooling a bit, so we're putting these out for a bit cheaper. Really no need to reset the engine factory, it's absolutely fine. And 60 months for the engine as well. This let us really boost the tooling and the process and the reliability. It's now really quite a reliable engine, and equally it's coming out a lot cheaper, 1.3 thousand per engine. Really isn't bad for this 3 litre inline-6. So let's just play around with the pricing points. Okay, so on this one we are currently set to be making 10 billion in profit in 5 years, which is quite crazy. That is setting the fixed price for the premium budget at 19,000. That's over 100% markup for that. And the full premium version at 33.3 thousand. And that's pretty much getting it balanced so that the factories are working on double shifts throughout their entire lifespan here. So even though we've lost a couple of markets to the loss of the convertible, this is still looking really nice. Don't need a loan for that. Alright, and so let's continue until the Aussie's replacement gets released. Or until the Aussie gets released, and then we work on the replacement. Here's we've run into one issue. The sports car factory is trying to do its refit and has run into an issue. Barely any difference there, so we're just going to pay that up front in cash. So there we go. The Aussie is out, and right now we're making some frankly ridiculous profits here. So the MATN is making 60 million a month now. The Aussie's making 34 million, even though it's 15 years old, still really selling well. Both factories are working absolutely flat out. So we'll definitely be increasing the size of the sports factory when we go through this next section. We can see that even though we took a hit of $1 billion for the new CNC factory upgrade, we're still sitting on nearly $2 billion in ready cash. So really looking into a good position here. So I think it is time for us to replace the Aussie. And we are going to do it with the car we spotted at the end of the last episode. So in this one, we're still going to be targeting the light sports market. And we are going to pick this 2001 2.5 meter wheelbase series. So we've got the coupe version, the soft top version, hard top version, and the regular version. These do have a possibility of 2 seat rows, so we can actually get this to be our sort of all-round convertible car. Have 1 seat row for the light sports versions, and then 2 for that extra convertible version. Okay, so this one I think I'm going to go for partial aluminium. So we're having sort of complicated bit made from a steel press, and then just simple sections made from aluminium. And keeping with that kind of theme of a hybrid between the top end and cheaper end, and go for light truck monocoque here. And just to boost our reliability, I'm going to go for galvanized steel. This engine has to go in the front on this one. See how well we can put it in longitudinally. And go for our normal double wishbone. Actually, I'm going to go for multi-link here. Does give a little bit more comfort and sportiness at the cost of a little bit of production units. And so that's probably going to be worthwhile. A little bit extra. Just to really push those up. And I do want to design a new engine for this one. So look at our various options. We can go for a V10, have a slight upgrade as before, and the maximum size that I can fit in and still actually have this fit into our relatively small car is a 7.5 litre. And we do now get to add VVL to this. Right now I'm just doing cast and cast. I might have another look at that. But it should be okay in terms of the weight. The car itself isn't all that light, so I don't think it makes too much difference if we have the engine a little heavier. So I've had to reduce this to a 6.5 litre engine just to be able to fit everything in with the turbo and the various cams and things. So here we have it. After quite a bit of playing back and forth, I arrived at this design. So in the end I went down to a V8 engine. Really that was just so we can fit the most engine into this relatively small space. This car doesn't have a huge engine compartment, and our engine is really quite bulky with everything strapped on. So as for what we've got going on with this engine, I did in the end go for the Aussie head and block material to pull down the weight. Pulls down the weight really quite significantly, but not that much more expensive. This is already an expensive engine, there's just no way around that. Having to use really the heaviest duty components that we can just to get this to work. And so in the end, this is now 7 litres. I've put VVT on all cams. That significantly increases the fuel efficiency. And we're now using direct injection. For this particular variant, I've just gone for the single direct fuel injection standard intakes. And this was working quite nicely at below 91 run. I had to tweak some things to actually get it using all of the 91 run. So still 100% available fuel for this, and a 1,000 320 horsepower engine. Incidentally, we do have bypass valves now, and so we can put nice big baffled mufflers on so it sounds quiet when people want it to, and they can bypass that when they want to get the best performance out of it. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. It is massively overfilled, and the main downside of this engine is it's really expensive to maintain. But that's kind of part and parcel with having a sports car. It's not going to be the cheapest thing to maintain. So let's see how this new engine is, the most powerful one to date. It's sounding very good. And I'm going to go for the Light Sports Premium variant of this one first. So all my non-convertible cars are going to take this form. We definitely go all-wheel drive to try and make the most of this power that we've got. And leave it with open differentials. The ones that increase sportiness are really expensive. Okay, so what we've arrived at here is a really fantastic Light Sports Premium car. And so really is absolutely hammering that Light Sports Premium market, the regular sports market as well. And it is definitely an incredibly good super and hypercar here. And it's really quite good getting a really high hypercar competitiveness. So 87% of Light Sports Premium are happy with it. We will go for a cheaper Light Sports version, taking out as much as we can to try and still get that market. And we'll definitely be putting in a convertible 4-seat variant here. As for what this has, we've ended up putting in sequential gearbox, which they really quite like. 6-gear ratio now, looking very good. 300s on the tyres, alloy rims. So now vented discs front and back with 6 pistons. Ended up balancing this to get this level. I'm quite happy with this. I just rebalanced it a little bit to help bring down some of the over-braking. We've got downforce and quite aggressive wings on the front and the back to try and give this thing enough grip. Variable hydraulic power steering with the electronic traction aids, and I'm going for standard 90s. Safety, active sports springs, semi-active dampeners, and that has really balanced out very nicely there. So right where we wanted it to be. Now, before I do anything, I do want to clone this because I'm going to play around with the engine. This is the 91 RON designed engine. I'm just seeing if it's worth going for a slightly more aggressive engine type. That's the question. I don't think there's really all that much that we can get out of this. Yeah, just the debuff for having the less available fuel is by far overpowering any kind of advantage we gain there. So that's fine. We'll just stick with the single 91 RON version for now. We are going to be putting a lot of engineering into that new engine, so it's probably good to only have a single variant of it. Okay, so I'd like to see how this one is going to fare on the test track, since this will be the version we're putting out. 120 first. And doing the track in 2 minutes 04. Okay, and let's start editing this. So here we go. This is the coconut. I've gone for this white and black colour scheme. And I think that looks really quite nice. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll possibly tweak some of these positions a little bit. But I think that looks really, really good. Let's go on then to the next trim. Oh, and while I remember, let's export that. Okay, so our next trim is just going to be the regular light sports variety. Going to be just trying to save cost here more than anything. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. We've ended up with something with about 70% affordability in the light sports category, but still really, really attractive for the light sports buyers. And this is also still a pretty good light sports premium car, while still capturing just about all of that market there. And it's also a decent track car. So hopefully we'll be spilling over into some other markets there. In terms of what we've done, main change has been massively decreasing the size of the tyres. They're almost half the width compared to what they were before. I've lowered the gear ratios and decreased the number of pistons on our brakes, along with taking off some of the sort of extra fancy things. So no active aero, absolutely dirt basic interior, and taking off the adaptive to twin tube dampeners. And with quite a lot of balancing, we've still managed to keep that in quite a nice steering range. And so we've got a much more affordable car, but it's still a very good car. So the next one then is going to be our convertible trim. And I'm going to go for the lower end of the convertible market first. So I'm going to base this off of the cheaper one of the two cars. So go for the hardtop. Okay, so here we go. So I've been trying to kind of combine the convertible and the convertible sport into one trim, just so we don't have too many trims on this. The main thing I've done there is the convertible really want to have at least 4 seats. Convertible sports don't mind anywhere between 2 and 4. So I've gone for 4 seats, and otherwise just try to keep the costs down as much as possible. Did have to increase the wheel size a bit because with the heavier interior and the weight of the whole convertible mechanism, this was blowing out its front tyres with those narrow ones. But here we've got a very affordable, really attractive convertible sports car and a reasonable convertible car. And this is also tipping over into the family sports category as well as some of the pony categories. So I think I'm going to end up with probably 2 more trims going for the upper ends of the market. So I'm going to base this off of the light sports premium. The first one is going to be the full-on convertible premium, possibly spilling over into convertible luxury. And we'll see how that does in terms of the convertible supercar. Because these two definitely want 4 seats. Convertible Super definitely only wants 2 seats. So I'm going to try and hedge my bets and get everything at once with the 4-seat version. If Convertible Super don't like that, then I will do a dedicated Convertible Supercar. I'm really happy with how that one's ended up. So it is a really attractive convertible premium car, not massively affordable for that market, but very, very decent convertible luxury car. And it's also hitting right there in the GT and GT premium car. And so we are definitely going to be picking up these 2 markets in addition to everything else here. Convertible Super really don't like it. They're getting a huge penalty for this having too many seats. So I will do a dedicated Convertible Super variety. And that has gone really very well. This is now an absolutely amazing convertible supercar and downright affordable for that market, which is an insanely wealthy market. And so anyone who wants a convertible supercar is going to be buying this variant. Also spilling over into the pricier convertible sports market. So anyone who wasn't too fussed about convertible sports can get this version instead. and really nice convertible, muscle premium car on top of that, and a downright great hypercar. So really we are getting most of this right-hand side with this one variant here, or this one model that we have. And I did briefly check, and even the convertible luxury and convertible super categories really struggle to get a hold of the fancier fuel types right now. I think they're just generally not available. They probably become more available as time goes on. But for now, let's just put everything out with this 91 run. So time to look into our factory, and I'm definitely going to upgrade this to the biggest factory we can fit on this current plot phase. It's going for medium 3. We need to put in the galvanization plant, and since we're spending a lot of money, I'm also going to put in a staff facility and a maintenance building. Really want to keep this top of the notch how we're putting these out. All of the trims will be getting used for this. This is by far our most expensive car today. I'm actually going to take out QA. Oh, we didn't put in the QA. I actually don't think we need staff facilities either. Looking at this, we're still really getting the top end of everything. So I think that's absolutely fine. Now the hard part, to try and make this come out in anywhere near a reasonable time. This is going to be a really big project. I'm targeting 90 months on this one. We are putting out 5 different trims, putting in a lot of new technology in these trims, and so we'll just have to hope that this all works out. We are doing this completely manually as opposed to completely automated. Still should have reasonable costs. We'll just have to see how this goes. So we need to put in the aluminium foundry on our factory buildings. Chuck in the maintenance facility on there too. And targeting 90 months on our engines as well. Okay, reasonable initial numbers. So let's see what happens when we play around with this. Prices are coming out really expensive because of the lack of automation. I think the first facelift is mostly going to be improving the sort of quality of the design. We're really just now trying to get all of these different trims out onto the market. Okay, so some very good looking numbers here again. Factored in all costs, and we're predicted 5-year profits of 5 billion. So looking very good, especially for this sports line. Reasonable factory usage throughout. Our price points here these are the most expensive cars that we've produced. Weirdly, between the Light Sports Premium and the Light Sports, the ideal numbers were coming out as about the same. I'm going to have another look at that, 2 seconds. Okay, so had another look at those numbers and rejigged them a bit. So Light Sports Premium is selling for 35,000. The Light Sports is selling for 29,700, both with a 29% markup now. Convertible Sports is selling for 30,000. And then we get our ridiculous pair. The Convertible Luxury is selling for 63,000. This is the most expensive car that we've released. It's a nice 56% markup there. And the Convertible Super is selling for just over 60,000. These are very, very similar cars, really. Really all you're getting in the Convertible Super is 2 less seats and so more room. Otherwise, they're virtually identical. So with a 5 billion predicted forecasted profit, this is looking very, very good for us. Now, this is predicting that this is going to cost us 1.48 billion. I still think that is fine to go ahead with without a loan, because we are making a lot of money. So even though between this and the previous project that would put us over the amount of cash we have, I think we should earn enough in the meantime to cancel all that out. So this should be absolutely fine. So there we go. The coconut is going to take a long time to process, but for now I think we should jump over to BeamNG Drive and we can see how this thing handles on the test track. Catch you there. Okay, so welcome over to BeamNG, and let's have a look at the coconut. So it's looking really cool. I think this might be my favorite looking car so far. Just looks really, really nice. I just like the simple color scheme. Oh, the lights aren't actually too, well, they are on the back ones. Not too bad on the front ones this time. All looking good. Well, let's see how it drives. Can definitely tell it's a powerful car. So we do have slightly too powerful brakes. We do have ABS now, so you can just hold down the brakes. Actually quite reasonable to drive for how powerful it is. 120 before the downhill. 180. Yep, so definitely don't go around that corner at 180, but it can do 180. And we've got automatic engine shut off. Well, I'm going to practice around with this for a little bit, and then I will catch you afterwards. So it handles really quite nicely. Do have to watch it on high-speed turns. It doesn't really like high-speed turns. It handles really well at low and medium speeds. You can definitely tell that it's got really wide tyres on it. Really has a lot of grip there. It stops pretty well too, and it's definitely a nippy little thing. So the automation test track time was a hair over 2 minutes. Our best time so far is 3 minutes 24 from the Aussie. So we'll see how we do in this one. Really doesn't have much ground clearance to keep hitting the underside. So far, so good. Yeah, gonna need to replace the brake pads after every race, but I am really hammering the brakes. beat the Aussie. The Aussie was 2:34, so we beat that by a full 10 seconds. So yeah, very, very nice little car. It doesn't turn as well as it possibly could. I think it is a little harder to handle than the Aussie, but then it's a lot more powerful than the Aussie at the same time, and so I think that balances out. And so we see that it beat the time there. Anyway, I think that is a very successful run. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave a like and all of that. Next time when we come back, we'll be designing the facelift of this and seeing how well this little thing sells. So until then, I hope you'll remember to have fun, and I'll catch you next one. Cheers.